Welcome everyone to SEO Office Hours. My name is Michael Chidsey. I'm an SEO here at Good Signals. And part of what we do, along with special guests, are these Office Hours sessions where people can jump in and ask their questions around their website and web search. By the way, nobody here is in the hot seat and we might not know all the answers, but multiple heads thinking about a problem should help. We've had a bunch of questions submitted already, as you can see, which we'll go through. But if there's anybody here live on the call who would like to ask any questions, feel free to flag yourself in the chat functionality, which will be monitored. Also, there's usually a bunch of other amazing SEOs live on the call that share their experiences, thoughts, and ideas. I personally think that's one of the best things about Office Hours. Isn't just the four of us sharing our answers, but everybody else as well. Dimitris has joined us. Good morning, Dimitris. How are you doing?
Good morning, everyone.
Hey.
Sorry for being late. I was
we-
running late from another meeting, and I was simply like just sharing with the guys, like, guys, I need to jump on off. So yeah,
Oh,
sorry for
welcome.
this.
Good to have you. Rob, are you happy to stay on, or would you prefer to totally?
Yeah, I'll hang out. I'll just
Awesome.
keep myself muted. I won't interrupt.
Well, no, feel free to. And so, like always, with me today is Jo Juliana Turnbull, also known as SEO Joe Blogs. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, and welcome everyone to our 65th episode of SEO Office Hours. As Mike said, I'm Jo Juliana Turnbull. I am based in Barcelona, Spain, as some of you are as well. And I run events in my free time, Search London and Search Barcelona, and happy and proud to be co-host of the weekly SEO Office Hours. From next week, we will be still at 9:30 a.m., but it will be 9:30 a.m. British summer time. So for those that don't have the hour difference, just do a Google quick search to see what time it'll be on. But it's always going to be 9:30 a.m. UK time. So I'm very pleased today to have two special guests. We have Ritu and we have Dimitris. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, so glad.
Good morning, everyone. Here to listen to your questions and try to answer as many of them we can.
Yes, thanks, Joe and Michael, for having us here. Yeah.
Oh, pleasure.
Well, and thank you for joining. And Ritu is an active member of the Women in Tech SEO community. And thank you for coming on the show. Ritu has actually been working in SEO since 2011. And in 2018, she founded her own consultancy business called Alga Digital. And they have a mission to help clients thrive in today's ever-evolving digital landscape. And since then, the team has collaborated with many leading brands across the UK, US, and UAE. Before that, Ritu has been very busy working in senior roles in organic performance and SEO management at Zoopla. She's also been featured on the Majestic SEO podcast and also live with Exposure Ninja. And she is also an active mentor and member of the Women in Tech SEO community. She is a mentor through the WTS mentorship program, which they've released earlier this year, I believe. But Ritu, you can go into more detail about that and also what you have been working on recently that you wanted to share with us today.
Yes, thanks, Joe, for the opportunity. So I have been working on a keyword research tool, which is an automated keyword research tool. So the problem I'm trying to solve with that tool is the existing tools. If you throw a keyword, it will give you a lot of options. Sometimes you're confused what to use, how to select the top keywords. You can't use as many keywords that are thrown at you, but you have to select the best one. So the tool, my tool, what it does for you, that it will only tell you the focused keywords, which are based on a different parameters, search volume, competition, and many other parameters in the background. And it'll give you only the focused keywords, long tail keywords, and the cluster keywords. All you have to give is a primary keyword and the primary keyword or a topic that you want to write about and the country that you're targeting. So right now the tool is in beta version. In a few weeks' time, we'll be launching the full version where you will receive the results on the web. So my request is as many testers as I can. It'll help me to get some feedback. So I've had about 50 testers so far, and I'm seeing good results so far. So it'll be good for you guys to try it out and share your feedback. The tool is called keywordstudio.io.
Thank you very much, Ritu. Feel free to share that in the chat as well. I've just shared Ritu's company in our chat. And I just also want to say a very big welcome to our guests for joining us. Always have a lot of live guests: Simon, Natalia, John, Rob, Veronica, John, David, Jordan, Isaac, Carolis, Trupti, Albert, Daniel, Walid, Ian, and Tosin. Thanks very much. We have quite a big SEO Office Hours International today. I'll just share that Ritu in the chat to everyone. So if you would like to try out the new platform, please do try it out. Here it is. So thank you, Ritu. And I'd like to give a big welcome to Dimitris. Thank you for joining us. You are the SEO lead at Wise. You lead a huge team of SEO managers and specialists, and you oversee content strategies across multiple regions and languages, including, it's very impressive, 40 plus localized sites. And of course, those billions of index pages. Before that, you were working in SEO in Revolut, Peanut, Paired, and Workable. And you're also co-author of the 2 SEO books of Mastering In-House SEO and In-House SEO Success. You're also a regular speaker at SEO conferences like BrightonSEO, SMX London, ASO conferences like APS London and ASO Conference, MeasureFest 2. And you also mentor pro bono through GrowthMentor FemTech Lab, and you've also served as a judge for the Drum Awards. You seem very busy, Dimitris. How do you have time to do other things?
And I have also to add on this, I just became a dad of a newborn, which comes on top of all of them. So yeah, I try to keep balance. But yeah, thanks for this warm introduction and thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for joining us. And we're really pleased to have 2 smart SEO professionals at the 65th SEO Office Hours. Remember, if you have any questions, do drop in the chat. If you have any comments as well, as you have before, please do drop them in the chat. And for those watching us, the recording, not live, you can always join us at 9:30 a.m. British Summer Time for next week. And you can always love and like the YouTube video and subscribe to the channel. I will pass over to Mike now because we've got a lot of questions coming up.
Yes, we have tons of them, and I've brought this back, which isn't as close to my desk. Very quickly, this was just one that is an out-of-date question, which was just when's the core update going to end? And it ended yesterday, or it finished rolling out yesterday.
Yes.
So we don't... I think so anyway.
Yes, it did.
From what I've read. Did anybody want to say anything about this core update, or should we move straight on to the next question? Does anybody have any thoughts? I usually keep an eye on what Systrix publish. Steve usually writes really good blog posts about the impact on certain websites, and then you can dig into those. I think that anything. I think I've answered that. I think anybody? No? Okay, cool. Great. There you go. Boom. Is there a way to report copycat websites trying to steal our sales, and is there a way to get them shut down or off Google? Has anybody had this problem before? Who would like to kick off? Joe, what about you?
Well, I haven't had this problem yet, so I can't give too much experience about that. But if someone is doing a copycat, trying to copycat your website, I first of all say imitation is the best form of flattery. And then second of all, report that to Google, because obviously you don't want people doing that and having all your hard work be copied to someone else. But I leave the floor open to anyone else that has actually experienced this themselves.
We had this when I was working for Workable, like there was a website in software just like us, like a pretty small company. They were simply copycatting everything that we were doing in terms of templates. We have been investing a lot in job descriptions, whatever job you may come up with your mind, and job description template or hiring templates or any template you may think of. And they were just simply taking sometimes even our own templates. So I feel the first thing to do is like making sure that you build a business case, you research their website and making sure that you have already enough URLs that, you know, they are simply similar or very similar to yours. If they do have the timestamp as well, that's perfect. You already prove that you have published this much longer before theirs. And then I personally reached out to our legal team and we formally submitted a legal action. But it was like a case where not just simply taking some inspiration, they were just taking parts of our text. or even material that we have built without adding a source or whatever, which was not a very pleasant case, especially for the writers who have been investing a lot of time of researching and creating this type of content.
Amazing. Ritu, do you have anything to add?
So, like Joe, I haven't had this problem. I haven't come across this problem. Just a little different problem, but similar to copycat style, which is, so when I was in Zoopla, there were a lot of real estate agents. They started their website. They had exactly same property listings, which was scraped from Zoopla's website. So it was on there. So it was about informing Google that we are not doing the copycat things. It's the real estate agent website. And I think what Dimitris said, that it's about the timestamp. When you have published the listing, how quickly it goes on your website, and then how fast it gets indexed in Google. I think that makes a difference. It's the timestamp.
Amazing. Joe, is there anything in the chat?
Yes, there is actually. So John shared out the DMCA to host or register in Google. David saying reporting to Google doesn't maybe work as well lately. Sorry, Google. Mike shared the link to the troubleshooting from Google. We have a couple of other points. So Simon said, it depends, as we all have this one. The DCMA is a good route, but also there are other legal tools to use. For example, have you registered your brand and trademarks? If you have, great. Then, of course, website or not, people should not be doing that. Steve said actually he experienced that in the 2000s with his own site. He found out through his own community, who then wrote negatively about it in his forum. Interesting. The person with a copy site had the nerve to write to him with a complaint. The lesson learned is a fan base is a great asset. So he learned about someone copying him because of his own community. Interesting. Lead's talking about contact the website host, use tools like Whoislookup to find the hosting provider of that copycat website. Interesting. Good points from everyone here.
Yeah, great. I've not been in this situation, I don't think, before. Obviously, that I've been in situations where people have very similar content, and I think that can be quite a natural thing with SEO where you're looking at your search competitors and so on. I think I've shared a form on Google that you can submit if you see something similar. I don't know how effective that is, but yeah, I guess I would just focus on going down the legal route, like a lot of people have suggested, contacting them directly, and just trying to always make sure what I'm doing is better. And I guess it's a difficult one, this, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I would say like the best form of flattery is imitation, but of course you don't want to have that. But yeah, just follow some of those tips there. If you know some nice lawyer friends, you can also ask them too, of course, because if they're copying you on the website, it's probably copying you obviously with perhaps some of your products and things like that. And obviously that's a breach of copyright.
Yeah. Something also to note is just some of the forms and stuff we put on there, that's just removing that website from, say, Google search, not removing that website altogether. So some people said about contacting the host, or I would contact the owner of the actual website and say, look, do you realize this is happening? And would try and prove that case. Okay, I got this a little bit too far away. Okay, next question is about SEO A/B testing. So this person is basically trying to prove the concept of SEO A/B testing in-house, and they are looking for some good quick win ideas for an e-commerce website, ideally tests that don't require heavy dev time, but could still show a clear impact. They basically just want to show the value of SEO testing without this disappearing into dev work for the next 3 months. Does anybody here do any SEO testing?
Yes, so I have done SEO A/B testing, especially for the meta tags, where I don't do meta tag changes on all the pages. So for example, if the website has 1,000 pages, I wouldn't change meta tags on all the pages. So how I would categorize the pages, and as a part of the programmatic SEO, so I would categorize the pages and make variations of the meta tags. So variation A, variation B, and then change it on a few pages, and then with the variation A, and on the other pages with variation B, and see which one works better before going to the developer. And then whichever version works for SEO, then I would get it implemented. But I have done A/B testing from SEO perspective, mainly for the meta tags. Yeah, and it comes in handy when the website is really big. You wouldn't go to a developer and ask them to make the changes or add dynamic variables in the meta tags. Yeah, so I would categorize the pages and come up with the meta tag suggestions.
Right. Dimitris, you've worked on some huge websites. Do you do any sort of SEO testing?
Yeah, we do have a few processes, but we want to always quantify everything. So we try to not do a lot of test a lot of variables at the same time. A/B testing is always like you need to test specific things and not having a lot of variants at the same time, just to make sure that you understand what's working and what doesn't. But yeah, right now I think the most important thing, especially if you don't have a huge team that works for SEO, like with Wise, we're lucky to have enough support, but I've worked also with teams where engineering time was not very into SEO. I would say it's just, I would always recommend finding a tool that could help you do things more automate. Secondly, try to build a business case and try to justify that. And thirdly, try to do some projections and some calculations. So if you want to focus on CTR improvement, for example, okay, how this will translate into a traffic increase, and if you have an average conversion rate, how this will translate into more business-wise metrics, which always could help you build the business case for engineering and for the overall investment. It's easy to say, I'm gonna just I'm aiming to get a spike on 10% of traffic on a monthly basis, which it's a good thing, but it's much more easy for you to get the buy-in if you say, I'm aiming to get X amount of bucks in the bank extra. So.
Well, thank you, Dimitris and Ritu. I also wanted to share a comment from Simon. He said that he uses SEOtesting.com, and it's actually really good for testing these types of things. I think another point to make was if anyone's doing any testing in your company, just make sure that you have enough time for that, not just like 1 week, but a proper time, not obviously during seasonality periods, which would show some spikes or not spikes. So obviously outside of e-commerce, big spikes, or depending on Christmas in July in Australia, or Diwali or other festive events. So thanks everyone for adding to the chat. Mike, do you have anything else you want to say about the testing? I think you've done a couple of tests before, right?
Yeah, I was going to say we've had a couple of people from Search Pilot on here. So I know Tom Anthony was on at the very beginning of Office Hours, but we've had a couple on from there, which is more enterprise SEO testing. And then we also have Ryan Jones from SEOtesting.com, which Simon mentioned. I've used that tool. It's really good. And that's more aimed at the mass, I would say, in terms of price point. You can also pull data from something like Search Console into Looker Studio and categorize things and create your own version. I quite like using a mixture of SEOtesting.com, and I've been using SEO Stack quite a lot, and you can basically save filters in SEO Stack. So it just means that if you set a test up across templates, you can easily have that set up in SEO Stack to check. I'm a big fan personally, and I think obviously every site is different. So I know you're looking for quick wins. I think one of the best things about SEO testing is also seeing the new things that you're putting in place, whether they have an impact or not. So I guess you're constantly trying to improve your website anyway, and actually setting up those changes as a new test and having something to compare it to in terms of like traffic and rankings is quite useful. So if you're building a bit of a business case to continue SEO testing, I think just whatever changes you're making, start recording them in terms of whatever tool you're using. And then I think whenever you start, I do a lot of A/B testing as well. And I think whenever you start doing something for the first time, it's going to take a bit for you to get into a good rhythm. And I think obviously your objectives when you're doing any testing is you want to be getting more positive test results. That's the aim. So you want to get better at what you're testing, but also you want to get better at the amount of tests that you're running and the frequency basically. So I think these first sort of couple of months might actually be you getting into a good rhythm of setting up successful tests. And just when you are setting up tests, it's very important to note down what you're trying to achieve at the beginning and stick to that. So, because it's easy once you start doing something to change your mind and all of that. But for instance, it depends on obviously traffic size, but I like to say, give it at least 2 weeks. You've got 2 business cycles. And then the last thing I would say in terms of quick wins is I usually get inspiration from what's performing well in the search results. So for instance, it might be that I really like the layout of how somebody has structured their content, or maybe there's a neat idea in terms of a new tool or something like that could maybe apply to category pages. And so, yeah, just getting inspiration from those, maybe similar industries, so not your industry, but looking at something that's similar and seeing if you can take some of those ideas, apply them to your site and see if they make a change. And obviously the main goal is that you're improving the site for users, but if it has a negative impact on rankings, you might want to look at a different way of displaying that information. Does anybody else want to say anything on testing? Do we have anything else? Sorry, I went. I really enjoy stuff like this.
We don't have anything else at the moment, but I'll open it up to Ritu and Dimitris if you guys have anything else. And I wanted to just mention one thing before we go back to other questions.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, we spent some time introducing our special guests, and I also just wanted to say thank you very much to everyone that has been following us for a long time on SEO Office Hours. As I mentioned, it's the 65th episode that we've had, and we also were featured in Search Engine Journal for the top SEO podcast for 2025, and we wouldn't be able to do that without having people such as yourselves join, and having also John supported us from the beginning. Mike messaged him before he started the show, asked if he didn't mind if he continued it or restarted it. So thank you very much. It's actually number 2 on the Search Engine Journal website article, and I'll share that. And I also wanted to say as well that there was a great event yesterday. I wasn't able to attend it, but I'll be watching some of the replay. It was SEO for Pause event. So also you can watch all the different videos that were there yesterday. I will also share a link to that. They're obviously raising money for the animals in Ukraine that are alone and not as much funding because of the war. So you can find a bit more about that. They were always looking for donors and sponsorships, and we have a lot of people that have taken part in the show. So thank you very much for supporting them. And I think it's great that there's always these events online so everyone can go and view and make the most of the information shared. And over to you, Mike.
Got that alarm going off, but I don't think you can hear it. It's fine. Yeah, the SEO for Pause event, there's a couple of people who I can see live here who were on there yesterday. I watched it. It was so good. Martin Split was brilliant. I watched Roxana and Mark Williams Kirk. They were the ones that I managed to catch, and then I'll catch the others later, but definitely recommend that. I like what you said about the Search Engine Journal. This isn't a podcast, but I'm not going to, we'll take it. We'll take the win.
No,
Okay.
they included other ones that were like video, but thank you to Roger for including us in that. And thanks for everyone for supporting us. We will continue for the foreseeable future, but we will take a break for Brighton SEO. So next week we will be here. The week after is Brighton SEO, and the week after that is Easter. So we won't be there for that.
Yay, a couple of weeks. Okay, let's jump back onto the question. So, very quick one. For website videos, would you recommend longer traditional landscape formats, or is it better to keep them short and vertical like you see on TikTok and in Reels? Anybody got any thoughts on that?
I mean, if I could jump on that.
Yes, please go for it.
I think I'll just start with it depends, right? It depends on what you need to cover with this video, right? If it's a long form video, it makes more sense to be the usual normal stuff that we have. On the other hand, if you want to optimize or change your chances of ranking for videos as well, because you could see like Shorts and TikTok have been ranking as well on search results for given queries, I would go with that option. Depending also, again, I think the main decision-making factor would be what type of information, what type of answer you're giving to the users throughout this video. If it's like a conference, if it's a summary of what we have discussed here, it makes more sense. If it's more of reviews for restaurants or whatever, it's also like a good thing, like you add reviews directly from users. And if it's like something you have generated by yourself, I would try also to use this new format that seems to be performing really well on search results.
Dimitri, sorry, I forgot to mention that the website, basically, that they sell clothing for runners, and I only got that from their email address, so I'm assuming that's what they're referring to. Ritu, have you got any thoughts? Do you have any preference? Do search engines have any preference? I think that's what they want to know.
Yes, I think I would go for short videos. So short videos, I think, can keep users' attention, and they're really good for lead generation. So I think it would also start from, it depends what's the goal. If it's lead generation, then I think I would stick to short videos. They're easy to make, it will be profitable. They're easy to make and you can make loads of videos. So yes, my preference would be short videos over long videos. Again, if it's informative, like Dimitris said, if it's informative, it's a tutorial, then obviously you can't cut short everything. And so yeah, it depends.
Joe?
So I just shared something from HubSpot that says that short form video is the way forward, but this was published in September last year and then updated in August. This is just showing you about YouTube Shorts and the TikTok, Instagram Reels, and it's talking about being very specific about things around lead generation. So when everyone says it depends, it does, just have a look and see where this is for, because it's down also to your budget. So just to have a look at this one, there's also information on Search Engine Land, on Search Engine Journal about videos. So have a look and see what you want to do. And of course, it comes down to your budget as well. But I think there's been a lot of talk around these YouTube Shorts, and that's trying to get engagement. But of course, if it's an explainer video, you can't do something like that. It'd probably be more of 2 to 6 minutes.
Yeah. I would like to add one more thing. I have been debating about the videos, whether there should be autoplay or not. So I'm not sure. Sometimes it can be a bit annoying when videos are autoplayed. So I'm doing a bit of debate and also an experiment that whether it has an impact on the bounce rate or whether anyone plays or stops the video. So I don't know if anyone has any opinion or anything, whether the video should be autoplayed or not.
I could also add on that potentially, maybe John would disagree, but potentially having to click on the video and add more actions on their website, increase the engagement, which we've seen through leaks and other stuff, that engagement is important for Google.
Yes.
I mean, not only for Google, it makes sense. It makes sense for people to feel engaged with what you have producing, what you're offering, instead of just simply being by different banners, auto-playing videos and stuff that their user experience.
Cool. Yeah, I just read Natalia's comment. For me, autoplay only if on mute. Hate unexpected sounds. I can totally get that, and I'm in the same boat. So that's why there are so many websites I've come across where the video just autoplays, and it can be a bit annoying. So what I'm experimenting is to have a very eye-catching and attentive, the screen grab, the screen grab of the video, the first page, the screenshot of the video, what it says, how creative it is. I think if we pay more attention to that, and if user is clicking on it, that means user is engaging with the video.
Great. Yeah, amazing. I guess if you don't go down the autoplay route, having a really good thumbnail that sort of makes people want to click it in the video is important. I really liked what Zach said about when it comes to landscape or portrait videos, actually just looking at what traffic you get. And obviously portrait videos work really well on mobile devices versus, say, landscape. The only thing I would say to caveat that is the good thing about landscape videos is, depending on what they are, you can turn them into portrait videos if you want to reuse that content anywhere else, whereas it's hard to do that the other way around. But again, it really depends on, like, I imagine in this case, if you're taking videos of people running, you can probably cut that into both quite easily. Joe, was there anything else just in the chat or anything like that?
Yeah, there's actually quite a lot, actually. Steve says that, like any director, just have all the formats in mind when you produce your videos, exploit all the available channels. A good point by Zach. Carol says that it depends, but most of the time he prefers the format that aligns with the target audience or the goal behind it. While Lead was saying that short vertical videos might be good, like quick workout tips or running challenges, customer testimonials, or the product highlights. They're quite good. Veronica has mentioned that longer landscape videos work well for detailed explanations, for tutorials, or professional audiences. They support SEO efforts through YouTube or Google search, but they are less suitable for mobile users and they may seem outdated. Short vertical videos grab attention quickly, especially on mobile. They're engaging, trendy, and easily shared, especially also on social media, but they cannot always be as in-depth, and they're not always ideal for complex topics. They also can offer limited benefits. So the ideal strategy that you have combines both, really. Use the short vertical videos for the immediate engagement and complement them with the longer landscape videos for deeper information. Very good point there, Veronica. Veronica has a lot of experience working in B2B companies as well. So I believe you may have a lot of experience with this, Veronica. Veronica's nodding, yes. Alma says it depends on the video's purpose and where it will be viewed, as we've mentioned. GDPR, John says, probably makes auto-playing videos from third-party platforms hard. Dimitris also says it depends on what your resources are. So yeah, if you can't make different versions of the videos, then perhaps stick to the format that you've already used or that works. If you're in the process of deciding the format, then just go with the one format, the one option that works best, and the main medium that you distribute the video to. But you really should just try, if you're going to be doing some video, make sure you do have that resource, time, and budget behind you to actually do this properly.
Right, Dimitris, very, very polite, putting your point in the chat. You're more than welcome to say it as well, to jump back in if you ever want.
I'm listening to all of these good thoughts, so I didn't want to interrupt you, so just throw some extra notes.
Great. And just on Veronica, actually, you're speaking at BrightonSEO on the main stage about AI, so I can't wait to watch that. So I just wanted to highlight that. Okay, next question. I think this one's an interesting one because we've got Dimitris here that can answer this from a brand perspective and then from more of a freelance agency perspective, which is good. As part of our online marketing strategy with EEAT in mind, we're exploring brand partnerships and collaborations. We want to build relationships that genuinely strengthen our content authority and trust. How do you find the right partners and approach them and make sure it's a win-win as well as avoid common pitfalls? Great. Who would like to kick off?
Ritu, you want to go?
Yeah, I can go.
Go for it.
So yeah, working with an agency. So I've had many campaigns where I had to build a partnership. So the example that I would like to share is a jewelry website where it's based in London. So because we noticed a lot of keywords, the long tail keywords related to celebrities and a lot of press releases related to that sort of things like the trending fashion style. So we tried to approach the press releases and also a lot of websites that were specializing in that type of gem or the metal that we were dealing in, that the client is dealing in. So we approached those websites for the collaboration. So we could sell our products on their website, or maybe we could just have a link exchange or some sort of the mention on the website. So that kind of worked really well when we followed the website that was specializing in a particular gemstone that we were selling. So it worked well with Google because we were approaching the website that were industry experts, fit in that category, industry experts. So that worked really well with Google, and we were able to get the acquire links which were worth high DA. And I think the most important of all is that it was the industry expert. A lot of content was there about the gemstone and mentioning our website, the client's website, for the same reason that we are the industry expert selling so and so gemstone. I think that worked really well.
Amazing. Dimitris, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm trying to revert this question. I would say that for us, when we're getting approached from other brands and want to do this collaboration or guest blog or these type of things, I think the most important way to look at things is ensure that the person or the brand that is approaching you is a brand. You need to also check their website, domain authority, generally how much content they have produced, whether they're doing proper tactics, there are any gray areas that you have spotted. I think sometimes people think of, okay, let's try to get more attraction, more attention, but at the same time, they sacrifice the quality. And this is not something that you should do, especially if you're an already established domain or established brand. And another thing that I feel that you could leverage is like collaborate with people that they will actually add something to your brand, to your posts, to your pages. Ideally, there are people who are experts. They would add their touch of expertise or authority instead of simply getting someone to simply write something or collaborate with the brand, get some money. I think that's the most important part for me, to get the most value and provide at the end of the day valuable, high quality content and result to the user that is gonna be on the page.
Great. Joe, do you have any thoughts?
I just want to say that if you're going to be working with brand partnerships and doing collaborations, you really need to also be very clear on your vision and mission so that make sure it aligns with these other companies. And it always helps to actually have a brief of how ideally you'd like to work with these companies. What is the area that you need help with? What are the areas that you want to complement their work? So that it's always written down, it's very clear, and then you can always refer back to this going forwards. Yeah, it's a good point by Simon. He said that we look for in-house subject matter experts first, rather than third-party partnerships. Bringing in third parties for EEAT seems odd. So perhaps this way the question was done. As part of our online marketing strategy, we're exploring brand partnerships. Yeah, so I think that this company maybe feels that maybe they don't have enough EEAT, and that's why they want to build it up. So I suppose it really depends on your business situation, but really would emphasize the fact to do a brief about what you guys are looking for and how you want to work with these partners, because some people may have a different opinion and you just want to keep to your vision and mission statement. Oh, and we have another note from Isaac. He said, I would say you could find collaboration or partnership with people or companies that can provide the expertise that you lack. That's a very good point. So if you want to create business content for your product and you're not an expert, you can try to find partners that are good at it. For example, great business writers or business people who could review and appear as reviewers on your content. So I actually really like NerdWallet because they actually have contributors that are from finance background. I don't necessarily know if all of them actually work at NerdWallet. There'll be someone that's right for it, that has written an article, and they'll be reviewed by the second person. So they're quite a good example of how they do build up their EAT. I would recommend to go and see how NerdWallet does their articles. I'll try and find an example and share, but I'll pass back to you, Mike.
Great, thank you. So I've worked with quite a lot of brands, celebrities, experts, TV shows, things like that, but more from a PR perspective. When we're doing big PR campaigns, we want to get them involved in different ways. So not necessarily from a EEAT perspective, but more adding credibility to the campaigns. And I think have always done that have always involved experts, but again, not from an EEAT perspective, but before that with things like if I'm working in healthcare, for example, I'll always hire healthcare writers who know about it, or sustainability or finance or whatever. And then the SEO stuff around it, I just make sure that it's optimized correctly and so it's obvious what it's about and all of that stuff, but try and find people that really know about certain subjects. And then another one is if I'm doing, say, some content, I have reached out to things like university professors or maybe relevant journalists or magazines that have written about that subject before and asked if they want to contribute or if they've got anything related that they can add to it. But again, it wasn't necessarily from an EEAT perspective, it was just before all that and just to make the content much better. But in terms of I can apply it in terms of really well-known celebrities and big brands and so on. I can apply that more from a digital PR perspective in terms of how do you get in front of them or how do you make it work? And basically, I always think, why would they want to do it? What's in it for them? And try and really put myself in their shoes and think, what are they trying to achieve as a brand or as a celebrity? A lot of the time it's awareness. So for instance, work with charities where they're trying to, at certain points of the year, raise awareness of what they're doing. And it might be either through that particular campaign, or it might be at other points throughout the year, I can help them with other things. Often with celebrities, it's the same. A lot of it is sometimes you can pay celebrities to be involved in campaigns that you're working on where you might want them to show up at a press event or something like that. But sometimes you can also just create a really good experience for them, and that sometimes can be enough. And then sometimes I've worked with Guinness World Records a lot. And so sometimes you want to make your campaigns record breaking, for example, and they have an entire process that you go through and they've got a whole commercial part of their business. And a lot of these brands that are willing to do partnerships do. And so if you want to say, prove that your thing is the best in the world, then that, to me, that's quite a good way of doing it. So I've done things like built the world's largest bra and put it on the side of a building, a breast cancer charity. But like, it's just things like that add some credibility if you can prove these things. I don't know why I picked that one record out of all of the records I've been involved with. But yeah, so I think the big thing is approach them, be really polite, think about it from their perspective, why they want to get involved, meet them. It's no different really to meeting a good journalist and trying to convince them to write about you. You want to go and you want to find out about them and find out about why their audience would care. So yeah, I think it's really possible. And also there are often lots of, depending on the campaign you're working on, lots of like micro influencers as well. So if you're writing about beer, for example, there are lots of microbreweries as opposed to going to the big Heinekens or those huge brands like Diageo or whatever. You can go to the smaller ones and get 10 of them to talk about it as opposed to spending ages trying to get in front of one and it not working. Joe, do we have anything else on that?
I'll chip in on this one
Oh,
if you
yes,
like.
please. Thank you, Rob. There we go. Go for it.
Because I've done the same as you, we've broken 3 or 4 world records using Guinness
Yeah.
as a partner. Because of what we do, we have access to dozens of different people in different fields, whether it's we've broken bungee jumping records, we've helped the guy with the rocket pack break records because of the network of suppliers we have. And the way we've always looked at it, although we have a close relationship with Guinness, is almost the opposite of what everyone's talking about. That you need to come up with an idea first and then find the best fit, not think, how can I work with X person or X celebrity or X influencer? You need to come up with the idea and then find the right fit for that. This podcast is a perfect example of getting expertise in, myself excluded, obviously, and people will come to you eventually, because surely people will come to you and say, can I be on? And it's collaborative.
Yeah.
And so rather than it being a selfish, what can I do, usually giving information away and giving advice is one of the best ways to attract people to your net rather than going out and looking for people. That's the way I would view it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with expertise and not having it in-house. With our companies, we sell everything from cooking lessons to bungee jumps to Ferrari driving. And we simply can't be an expert in every field, but we're experts in marketing it and selling it. So you're not competing, you're collaborating.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is finding people where you're not competing with them, but you almost complement each other. That's quite an easy thing to do. And it doesn't need to start with the ask. It can start with most people I work with now, I've known for years, because it's just been, oh, I like what they've written about, or I like how they've done that. And then you just build that over time. And then you think, oh, I've got a project that you could work on.
Yeah. We actually had one of the world records we did was the highest dunk of a donut on a bungee. It was ridiculous. We ended up having so many problems trying to find a partner because no one would do it from a legal or insurance perspective. Dunkin' Donuts turned it down. Krispy Kreme turned it down. In the end, we did it with McVitie's and had to spin it on a British theme and do a biscuit in tea instead, in collaboration with Guinness. So we thought we found the perfect partner, and this ended up across the globe, probably got 100 million views across different platforms, every major newspaper, but they turned it down. And we probably, had we pitched it and tried to charge them 100 grand for it, we probably could have got it, but we were doing it for nothing. But no one would touch it.
Yeah,
So you have to think about those things as well. Whereas it seemed like the perfect, it's in collaboration with Guinness, it's obviously going to be global, it's a big brand name, no one would touch it.
Well, actually, it reminds me of, I did a collaboration years ago with a university where they basically, as Rob, I was in-house at an events company, and they have a corporate events section. And I basically teamed up with one of the local London universities that offer event management courses. And we helped them plan out their first commercial module, where basically the event management students got to take on some of our briefs. They got to come in and pitch to some of our clients and go through the process that you would do if you were organizing corporate events. I don't even know if this is allowed to go on. I might have to edit this bit out. But yeah, so basically we did that, and I built this relationship with a local university. We had this amazing module where people from my company were going and giving lectures each week, and the students we were just trying to make it as practical as possible. And a part of their business is also bachelor parties or stag do's. And so basically it went from being a really positive story about, in the Times Higher Education, about basically this university in this company have coordinated to organize a more authentic course, to it hitting the Daily Mail, and basically the headline was degree in stag do's. And it was horrid because it really hit the university, and I built these amazing relationships with them. And that was a really good lesson in just thinking about all the reasons why they might not want to work with you and what could go wrong. Thankfully, I managed to kill the story eventually, but it was one of those that it isn't right for everybody. And especially if for instance, I've worked on companies before with clients before where I've worked with celebrities, for example, and maybe there isn't quite the right fit with the company or maybe the CEO or something like that. And what you don't want is a journalist asking that celebrity in a moment, are they really happy about representing a company that does X, and then it backfiring. So obviously I've learned the hard way with that stuff, but you have to be really careful.
Yeah, we very quickly, because I know we're short of time, we had an almost opposite situation where we were working with a motorbike company where we were going to land a skydiver on a motorbike, for goodness. And just in general, the motorbike companies struggle for exposure in movies, they told me, because every motorbike rider is negative. It's a bank robber, it's a villain getting away. And so they were really looking for some positive PR and couldn't find it. So think about what brands are looking for from both sides.
Yeah, 100%. We're so out of time. Thank you so much for that, Rob. We've got our final question. Unless anybody else wanted to say anything, sorry, on that before we jump onto the final question. No. So our final question is our regular one, which is, what are you most excited about in terms of SEO at the moment? Dimitris, what are you most excited about in terms of SEO?
Well, I think the most exciting part is there are two things that are about the same topic, I would say. First, to see how AI overviews and the overall thing will evolve and become part of our lives. And right now, I know that there are a lot of people complaining with how they look like. There are some changes in A/B testing that Google is performing. So I'm very excited and eager to see how the final outcome would look like. And secondly, we are already working on that internally, how we can incorporate some AI agents on helping us automate a few common SEO tasks like keyword research or SEO briefing. We're not a fan of creating content using AI, but there are some things like analysis or SEO briefing or keyword researching or clustering that can be done and save us time, especially for speaking from my perspective and the team that we have and all the markets we're covering. We're already building some AI agents that will help us automate things and speed up process and save times and have more time to invest in actually writing and researching the topic. So these are the two things very excited about.
Amazing. Ritu, what are you most excited about in terms of SEO at the moment?
I think the same. I think it's on everyone's plate. AI, how AI is changing SEO and geo, generative engine optimization. So learning more into it. And also how every website can be challenging, even after working for so many years in SEO. Still ranking, improving visibility in SEO can be a challenge. So I think that is very exciting and keeps you up.
Amazing. Joe, what are you most excited about in terms of SEO?
Well, I'm always excited about events. So we'll have the Brighton SEO in 2 weeks' time, and really excited to see all the different online events taking place, like the SEO for Pause yesterday. And of course, thank you everyone for coming to SEO Office Hours, our 65th episode.
Amazing. Okay, we better stop there. Sorry, we are over by just a few minutes.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you.
Dimitris. Thank you, Ritu. You're amazing. Joe, thank you for co-hosting. Thank you, everybody, for watching live, and to those that submitted the questions. As you can see, we didn't get through very many.
Can I just say something?
Fine.
Of course you can, Dimitris. Go for it.
So if anyone, I know that we haven't covered a lot of questions, so if anyone has a question, just feel free to direct DM me on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to spare any thoughts or any help that I could do for free. There's nothing.
Amazing.
I'm not selling myself. I'm just trying to be helpful to anyone. Just need to clarify this as a disclaimer. But yeah, if anyone hasn't had his question answered, feel free to reach out. I'll be more than happy to support you any way I can.
Amazing. And Dimitris, will you be at Brighton SEO?
No, I'm in Tallinn office at the moment visiting the team here.
Okay.
That's the thing. But I'm aiming to be on the next one for sure. So
Great. Okay, and thank you to those watching afterwards on YouTube. We will be back next week, but the clocks change on Sunday, so over in the UK. So that means I think we lose an hour. So we move to British summertime. So just pre-warning, because last time we switched, I didn't tell people and it was a little bit confusing for people from all over. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Have a lovely weekend. Hopefully the sun will come out and we'll see you next Friday.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. See you
Thank
later.
you. Thanks for the great show.
Bye.
Oh, I should
Bye.
also say thank you to Rob as well for joining us.
Oh, yeah,
Cheers,
thanks,
Rob.
Rob.
Thank you.
Jumping
No,
in.
it's fine.
Sorry. Thanks, Rob. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.